Hey everyone, welcome to my podcast show. My name's Isaiah, and this is the GameTime Gazette, where we talk real sports, real fun, always. We're talking American football, European football, NBA, NHL, MLB, all of that and more. Only thing for us left to do is have fun. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Howdy do. It's Isaiah Nenny. Welcome to the GameTime Gazette. Thank you for joining me here today. Today is Monday, February 12th, 2024. Hope you guys had a great Super Bowl weekend, living life. Hopefully you had a good time with your loved ones. It's always a great time when Super Bowl weekend comes around. Today, we're just going to be delving into all the sports news that happened in the weekend. Going to be looking at, first we're going to go AFCON. That's the African Cup of Nations. That's the football or soccer competition that happens in Africa every 4 years or every 2 years, right? And and this year final happened this past Sunday, Côte d'Ivoire versus Nigeria, and we'll dive into that. We'll also dive into the Super Bowl, like I just mentioned. The Super Bowl happened this weekend. Chiefs, Niners, wild finish. Went down to the last play. Dive into that. Got a lot to talk about with that. Then we'll also go into some NBA news. It was an exciting week in the NBA this weekend. Had a controversial call in that Warriors game. I know some Warriors fans are pissed, not having the greatest year. And then at the end of the game, had a controversial call to end. You know, it's tight. It's tough, right? And it is what it is, right? But Curry went off, won. You know, they beat the Suns, that game winner. But we'll dive into that as we go. I'm still thinking on that. That was crazy. And then we'll also talk about some Toronto Raptors news. Got some new players. Justice Winslow coming back into the league. That was a lottery pick back in the early 2014. I believe 2014, 2015. That was his draft. I forget, but we'll dive into that. And then we'll talk about quickly some La Liga and then some Premier League. Got some tight finishes coming up in the Premier League, so we'll dive into the games that are coming up this weekend. What's going on with the La Liga? How Real Madrid is pulling away. And so let's get going. So AFCON 2024. I'm saying AFCON, but AFCON 2024. The final happened this weekend, and man, what could I say? I mean, I'm Nigerian, so I was disappointed, man. I can't even lie to you. I was disappointed. You know, it was a 2-1. I mean, Ivory Coast coming back and being able to win this, and it was impressive, right? It was an impressive tournament overall. You know, a lot of chatter on Twitter and social media was like, oh, you know, AFCON compared to the Asian Cup was also going on. Qatar was victorious in that, champions of the Asian Cup. And they were just comparing the two and saying AFCON was superior, and then comparing AFCON to the Euros that's going to be coming up shortly. And honestly, it was one hell of a watch, man. Every single game was fun to watch. You know, it was just competitive. You know, even though the scores weren't, you didn't get a lot of, high scoring games. They were very competitive matches. And, if you're a football fan, you love to see that. And I love to see the games. AFCON this year definitely delivered. So, for, Ivory Coast, let the party begin. Sebastian Haller scored the winner late, to lead the nation. And that's the host nation as well. So that big ups to Ivory Coast. You always gotta, that's something hard to do. You're playing the cup in your home nation and then being able to win. So that's big up to them, right? And Frank Kessie, that was a former Barcelona, former Blaugrana player. He's always a game changer, and he was the one that tied it. Drew them level. And yeah, it was their third Ivory Coast's third title after they won first one in 1992 and 2015, and both of those were won on penalty. So this is what's impressive in terms of just historical, in the historical sense of it all, and just looking at it from as well, they didn't need to go to OT and didn't need to go to to extra time, didn't need to get to penalties, right? And yeah, Max Gradle, he was part of that 2015 championship team as well. And a quote that he had was, "Representing the national team is everything. And to have brought joy to all Ivorians with what I've done is even more incredible. Perhaps I don't realize everything that happened yet today. There are too many things in my head, but I don't think I'll take some. But I think I'll take some time to realize it. The most important thing is that Ivorians are a proud team, proud of the team, and I think they're that tonight winning the African Cup this evening. There's nothing better, nothing better. And it was an impressive tournament. So yeah, props up to Ivory Coast. Yeah, Nigeria will be back. It was an impressive tournament for Nigeria as well. Undervalued in the tournament coming in. Nobody really thought they were going to win. They didn't. They looked at the squad and, with a few injuries and a few players not playing up to their level up until this point, up until what they did in the tournament. Not a lot of people had faith in Nigeria and the Super Eagles to even go all this way. So, props up to the Super Eagles too. You have to always give that to as well. Yeah, and so let's move on to the next big game that happened on Sunday as well, the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. And what a game it was. It started off really slow, man. Was it boring? I'm not even gonna lie. The first half was so boring. That first quarter, no points scored in the first quarter, and it the Niners they first came out, and then Christian McCaffrey. That was his third fumble all year. It was really it was just a disappointing first quarter. No points. You just expect a little bit more from the Super Bowl, but is what it is. And then you move on, and then you're looking at it. Game started to build up. That second half really just started to give us a lot more, and then obviously it went OT, and then yeah, what a phenomenal finish. But let's just dive into it. Let's dive into the stats right now. So Brock Purdy went 255, 1 TD, 23 for 38. We Another player that has a TD, Juwan Jennings. That guy, that was a beautiful trick play drawn up by Kyle Shanahan. When he did that, when the Niners did that, I thought that they were in complete control. I'm not going to lie, for a lot of that game, I thought the Niners were going to win the game, but they always let Mahomes stay too close, and, keeping Mahomes that close, you just know what he's going to do next. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised with the finish. Not gonna lie, I live bet the Kansas City Chiefs as well, plus 175 there, and just, because just not surprised with keeping them in the game. They're always gonna make the plays at the end that matter, and then for a young player like Brock Purdy, that guy just it's hard to put him in that situation and ask him to make Patrick Mahomes type plays to beat him, and it's just tough. It's tough. It's tough. For me, I don't know. Niners are betting favorites for next year, but I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't see the Niners getting back here maybe for a year or two. It's going to be hard next year. I feel like teams are going to get better in the NFC for sure. I know the Eagles are going to be back, got better coordinators as well. And just all of that, really just be able to compound everything. I feel like the Niners, and just being in the Super Bowl, it's hard to get back to the Super Bowl back-to-back years. Obviously, the Niners, the Chiefs did it, but the Chiefs are a different animal. We're seeing the Chiefs are, dynasty in the making at this point, right? So, well, it's left to be seen, but yeah, let's stay on the game. Pat Mahomes, 333 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception, and when he threw that interception earlier in the game, I don't even know, it was a lot. You didn't expect everything that happened, right? So, you guys give me my thoughts on it was the Niners, and I really didn't even obviously I had no dogs in the race. Eagles aren't in this fight, so I was really just watching it just to be it's the Super Bowl, and I just love football, right? But we seen some phenomenal plays in that first half. Don't get me wrong, it was a special teams a special team bowl in that first half, as we seen Jake Moody break the record first with that 55-yarder, and then just a few plays later, we seen the Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker break it with a 57-yarder, which was incredible. I mean, we seen record just easily be broken, and it's tough to say that it was, with records like that as well, and how the second half picked up. It's tough to say that the Super Bowl overall was boring, but yeah, that first half really just bored me out. And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Looking at it, are we standing in the Chiefs in the new this new Chiefs dynasty? Like, is this what just started? Like, back to back, first time since the Patriots did it in 03, 04. It's hard to do in the NFL, man. That's 20 years that's happened, bro. Nobody else has been able to do it since Brady. This guy is the only one, Patrick Mahomes, that has the ability, or not the ability. He stands alone. He stands alone in the NFL right now, and he's the only one that's allowed to be in the conversation with Tom Brady, just because of the time that he has left as well. Travis Kelce coming back for another year at least, right? So he's definitely. It's gonna be interesting to see when he loses Trav, because Trav getting older. I even forget. You just forget that, like, Trav is gonna retire at some point. Probably, I don't see that happening maybe for 2 or 3 years, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens after that. But this Patrick Mahomes dynasty, Chiefs dynasty, it's here. I mean, it's been here they've been in the AFC Championship in the last 6 years. They've been in the Super Bowl in the last 4 years. So it's like, just, yeah, it's here. It's here. Or last 3 years, right? Something like that. But they're a mainstay here. Even when they're trash at the beginning of the year, they finish it out at the end. And that's how they always finish it out there. That's how they always do. That's what Patrick Mahomes, that's what the greats do. And he proved all of us wrong this year. Again, last year we didn't think he wasn't gonna do it without Tyreek Hill. This year he did. I mean he did it last year, and then this year playing trash, no receivers, this and that, and this year he did. He did it again. He proved us wrong again, and that's what the great ones do. That is what the great ones do. Alrighty, man. Let's move on to that Warriors Suns game. Well, let's just start on that, right? That happened on Friday, and or it happened on Saturday, sorry. And yeah, it was a good game. I mean, 113, 112 it ended. Warriors won that game. It was an impressive win there by the Golden State Warriors. I mean, Draymond locked up KD on that final possession. I know that whole thing, like, that whole war. I know KD wanted to score that bucket on Draymond's head top, but Draymond, he held his own. He held his own, and the Warriors did as well. Steph Curry hitting that game-winning three with 0.7 seconds left in the game. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. Just looking at the Warriors, I mean, not the best year for the Golden State Warriors this year. Obviously, we're not looking at them as a team that is they're always contending, but they're not a top contender this year. You can't always count out Steph Curry, but just a 500 team this year, 25-25. They're on a 4-game win streak though. One of the last last 10, they're 7 out of 3 in their last 10. So, they are on the up, and, this is the time to be on the up. But on that game, watching that game, it was back and forth between the Warriors and the Suns, and the NBA released that 2-minute report at the end of the game. Obviously, it ended with 1 second left, and everybody in that 2-minute report, as I just came on that call, where it was Draymond Green locking up KD, everybody seen it on IG everywhere, and on the comments, you'd go down, and some people are like, that's a foul, this and that, that's a foul. Gotta call the foul there. Yeah, obviously gets a little, somewhat controversial online with Suns fans and, the general NBA public that's watching the game and rooting or not rooting or just saying, they thought that's a foul right there, right? And the NBA released the explanation, with that 2-minute report a lot of people thought that it was going to be called, that it was going to be, that they got it wrong and that it was going to be a foul there. We've seen a few 2-minute reports be like kind of spotty this year, but I'm not going to lie. I think they got this one correct, because they said it was a no call, because Draymond, the NBA wrote on this play, Draymond Green maintained verticality and cleanly dislodged the ball in front of Durant with his right hand. And you do get a little bit of body contact, but that is basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basketball. I feel like a lot of contact has left our game in this generation, just because nobody wants to have contact no more. But as basketball, you got to have a little bit of contact. You got to have a little bit of body bumping. It is a contact sport. As long as you're not overly aggressive, you can't be so foul heavy. And one day we're bashing the refs for being so whistle happy, and then the next day we're bashing them for not giving the calls for our team. They got to be consistent with it and let the game have a little bit of contact again, because the defense deserves to live in the NBA. It's an offensive game. I understand that the NBA wants to make it an offensive game in this new era, but gotta have let the defense live in. That right there was a defensive play. That's what you like to see if you're watching defense. You gotta have a little body to body contact, because that's what it takes. I mean, as long as you're maintaining verticality, you're trying to stop him from scoring the bucket, and that's what he did. He did it without fouling him, right? He did it without fouling him, despite the body contact. As much as everybody thinks every single body contact is a foul, it is not a foul. It is still, that's good defense. All he did was, maintain verticality, and was able to and was able to strip him from the ball without fouling him. That was good defense right there. And we move on a little bit later. Curry hits the three, boom. 0.7 seconds left or 0.6 seconds left, something like that. Suns get the ball back. And the Warriors, the Warriors were whistled for the foul on the previous inbound pass, right? Suns get the ball back, and then they're inbounding the ball, and Andrew Wiggins fouls Devin Booker with 0.6 seconds remaining, right? And then the NBA also released an explanation on that call, stating that Wiggins wrapped him up, and it was a correct foul because it reset to 0.6 seconds left. All of that it affected his ability to, get the inbound pass, this and that. But all of that, really didn't matter at the end of the day. Still not able to get the ball in and win. So 0.6 seconds left as well. Not a lot of time to get that shot out. So tough pickings there after Curry hits that three. But hey, man, good game. NBA is starting to heat up as well. This is the time that NBA heats up after NFL is done, and we're starting to reach that playoff, time, that route. Like we're getting there, right? So that's when it starts to heat up, and it's an exciting time. Not exciting if you're a Toronto Raptor fan, but exciting if you're a fan of the Timberwolves, the Clippers, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Suns. If you're a fan of the Boston Celtics, the Cavs, the Bucks, the Knicks are real good this year. 76ers, Pacers, man, Magic even have a resurgence this year, right? But yeah, man, my Toronto Raptors, man, we tanking. Even though it doesn't look like it's intentional, even though we've traded away, it is intentional. Not even that it doesn't look like it's intentional. It is intentional. We traded away two of our best players, and then we traded away a lot of rotational pieces, completely flipped the team. This is not the team that looked like when we came into the year. We did a lot of trade deadline moves, got Kelly Olynyk, Ochai Agabai. I'm gonna get your name, Ochai. I'm gonna get your name as you're staying as a Raptor. I'm gonna get your name right. For sure. But we're really opening up that future. Scotty B, he's gonna be that future. He's gonna be that guy for the Toronto Raptors, and that's all the moves that the Raptors were doing to make that happen, right? We talk about the Kelly Olynyk trick. We talk about O'Shea coming from the Utah Jazz. We talk about the trades that we made earlier, getting RJ, getting quickly, getting the picks. Even though we traded a pick for Kelly Olynyk, I mean, even though that was one of the later picks, and you're kind of betting on O'Shea to become better than that later pick would be as well. He's already a game 6 points per game score. So if you could get it up to like 10, 15 points per game, that's a solid rotational player, solid rotational guard as well. Something you need, and he's a young guard. He was drafted last year, right? So last year as a lottery pick. So he has potential. He has growth. And it's just in his second year. We seen Scotty last year struggle in the second year. Obviously, he wasn't averaging 6 points per game, but yeah, it just happens. Sometimes that's just what happens. And then you could see a player just boost up, get 15, 13 points per game the next season, be a much better piece to the rotation. And I think that was a great move as well there by Masai Ujiri. And then also, we just got Justice Winslow, right? We got Justice Winslow, a former, even though he's been out of the league for a little bit now. So it's something to see how he's going to play in the 905, if he's going to have any type of impact, if he is going to even have any type of chance to come up to the team, is going to be something that we gradually are going to be able to see, right? But for the Toronto Raptors and the Raptors 905, just looking at them, just getting all these young pieces, even looking at Freeman Liberty, on the 905, he's a piece that just looking at, just excited about on there, looking just about the future, and let's look a little bit about the draft. As I'm talking about the future, I'm thinking about, let's go to Tankathon and think a little bit about the draft and how the Raptors are gonna do this year, how we're gonna, or if we do get that first round pick, that hopefully we tank a little bit more to be able to, or lose a little bit more games to be able to hold on to that pick. How are we gonna be, or who are we gonna be in position to get? I've seen multiple boards, and Reed Shepherd seems to be like the consensus pick for that number 6, 7, kind of 5, 6, 7 spots, depending on who gets 5, 6, 7 and what their needs are, right? So if the Grizzlies get that 5 spot, might get like a Ron Holland, or if the Pacers, if the Grizzlies get that 5 spot, they'll get like a Ron Holland. If the Trailblazers get that 5 spot or 6 spot, they'll get like Cody Williams, something like that, right? And even if the Spurs end up getting that Toronto pick, you could see Reed Shepherd going to the Spurs over there, being a piece to be around Wemby, kind of be a facilitator over there. If they're not able to get a Nikola Topic in that top 3, if they don't get that top 3 pick. But right now, it is projected that the Raptors are going to lose their pick to the Spurs just by positioning. This is obviously without doing the lottery and without finishing off the season. So a lot of basketball still to play and a lot still to happen. But if we press this sim lottery button right there and end up with one that has the Toronto Raptors, okay, wow, if the Toronto Raptors end up with the second pick, praying that happens right there. Hopefully this podcast gets played back in July or June, and the Raptors get the second or first pick. A top 3 pick would be awesome. Raptors would get a Nikola Topic, and that is like a consensus top 2 pick there. Alexander Sarr is like the consensus number 1 at this point. Everyone's kind of saying this draft is weak, but I disagree with that, man. Let's look back at the last 10 NBA drafts. Let's actually be serious and look back at the last 10 NBA drafts and tell me which ones of those ones are the strongest ones, or are stronger, the hype backed up how good these teams were, right? Let's look back at the last 10 ones. So we go back to 2013. We're starting with one of the worst number 1 overall, and all due respect to Anthony Bennett, but he was one of the worst number 1 picks of all time. You got Anthony Bennett, Victor Oladipo, Otto Porter Jr., Cody Zeller, Alex Len, Nerlens Noel, Ben McLemore, Contavious Caldwell Pope, Trey Burke, and CJ McCollum. That's the top 10 for the 2013. I ain't even going to say nothing until I'm finished saying everything. Okay? Because I know this is like everybody's always saying, look at this draft is weak, this and that. Because there's no hype around the draft does not mean it's weak. These are world-class NBA players that are coming into the league right now. All right, 2014, Andrew Wiggins, Jabari Parker, Joel Embiid, Aaron Gordon, Dante Exum, Marcus Smart, Julius Randle, Nick Stauskas, Noah Vonleh, and Alfred Payton. Honestly, that top 5 for that 2014 one ain't bad. That right there is not bad, especially Dante Exum. I'm going to include that top 7 because, Dante Exum, Marcus Smart, Julius Randle. Marcus Smart and Julius Randle, pretty good players in the league as well. Like Julius Randle kind of, he's fringe superstar. He's an all-star player for sure. But yeah, Dante Exum making his resurgence back into the NBA does kind of make this draft this top 10 a little better here. Andrew Wiggins, solid number 1 overall pick. Tough to say. I mean, they got LeBron back for him, though. Traded that number 1 overall pick and got LeBron back for him. I believe that's how it went. I forget. But, yeah. No, they got Kevin Love. They got Kevin Love for that Andrew Wiggins pick. Yeah, I forget. And that led to a championship. Right? So... and then 2015, you got Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Jahlil Okafor, Kristaps Porzingis, Mario Hezonja. Sorry if I butchered your name, man. Willie Cauley-Stein, Emmanuel Moody, Stanley Johnson, Frank Kaminsky, and Justice Winslow. Justice Winslow that we were just talking about, coming back to the league and coming back to the Raptors 905. Not gonna lie, this was one of those ones where it was disappointing. Karl Anthony Towns is all right, number 1 overall pick. Still to be seen that impact that he still has to have, and he's almost been in the league for 10 years now and still not been able to make a deep playoff run. So the questions start to pile up. D'Angelo Russell, same thing. Jahlil Okafor, not even in the league anymore. Kristaps Porzingis, he has an opportunity to kind of bolster his resume this year with the Boston Celtics, and everybody else after him not even in the league anymore. So it's like that draft right there, that top 10. I mean, Justice Winslow just came back into the league and he's on the Raptors 905. So yeah, I mean, 2016, Ben Simmons, Brandon Ingram, Jaylen Brown, Dragon Bender. I mean, you guys get what I'm saying though. Like, it's like you add all the hype. We've seen the hype with Karl Anthony Towns. We've seen the hype with Andrew Wiggins. We've seen the hype with Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, Lonzo Ball, Jason Tatum didn't have all that hype, but he was neat, though. But he should have had more hype on him. He should have went first in that draft, but it is what it is. I mean, Boston definitely doesn't regret taking him. And then 2018, you got, all the hype with DeAndre Ayton, Bagley. How did Bagley have more hype than Doncic? I didn't even understand that at that time either. Yeah, and Zion Williamson, still a great player. The 2019 draft, probably one of the best in the last few years as well. Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham. Some of these drafts still a lot to be left on, but you can't tell me looking at this year and you're looking at it and you're telling me that this is going to be a weak draft just because you're not getting a lot of hype players this year, man. This is going to be, that's where you find the gems, and that's where you expect the good GMs to become even better, or to cement themselves and show the world that they're even better than we think, because they'll find those gems. They might not even be just the number 1 pick, Alexander Sarr, or might be the 34th. It might be another Jokic situation where you're getting it at the 40th pick, 50th or 40th pick. Yeah, or 50th pick, or, something like that. 35th, excited for this draft. And as the draft continues, we'll dive into it as we get closer to it. And as we get, more of an idea of who is going to be in what position, what players are going to most likely be in what position. Obviously, we're just going to be predicting what we're thinking about what players are going to be in what position. We don't know what the teams are going to do at the end of the day. Could just get a good idea and talk about it as it comes. Going to be interesting to talk about as it comes. Quickly, before we end off for today, I did want to talk about some La Liga. Some scores. Barca last night had a beautiful match against Granada. Well, not beautiful in terms, I mean, for Granada fans, beautiful. For football fans in general, beautiful 3-3 match. You seen Lamine Yamal, 16-year-old. I mean, beautiful play from him. 2 goals in that game. Just wonderful gem. But Barca letting 3 goals into Granada, I don't even want to talk about it. It's just been a disappointing year for Barcelona all together. And then just bringing this, it's just been, it just adds on to the disappointment. It really does. It just really does. And it just, yeah, this one is a game that I quickly wanted to brush over with. It's been a sad season. I still have hope. I still have hope that Barca will be able to do something because we have the pieces and we have, the system to be able to succeed in a tournament like the Champions League. That is always something that, you just get a little bit of luck and you get a little bit of consistent play, then you could always make an impact. And quickly, Sevilla beating Atletico Madrid really helped out Barcelona stay in the position of third. All we were chasing right now is the Girona. I mean, after Girona got beat 4-0 by Real Madrid, nobody's really fighting them right now. Real Madrid, it's theirs to lose right now as they lead by 5 points on Girona. They lead by 10 on Barcelona. It's theirs to lose. It's theirs to lose. Barcelona still has a shot to get that second place. I foresee that. I see that happening. Yeah, probably Barcelona's going to get that second spot. It's going to be interesting to see if Real Madrid drops enough games. They're going to probably have to drop 3 or 4 games to be able to Barcelona allow Barcelona to close this gap. With the way they're playing, it's going to be interesting to see if that even ever happens. We do have another El Clasico still left on the schedule, so you never know. You never know. In the world of football, you never know. All you do is hope, and all you do is watch, and you be enamored by what happens because these are some world-class players that make things happen. So you never know what's going to happen. You just got to watch. And let's go quickly on EPL. So the EPL match day 24 of 38 wrapped up yesterday, or is going to wrap up today at 3 p.m. with Crystal Palace and Chelsea. Obviously, it didn't happen yet, but we could preview that. Chelsea needs a big win. I mean, not having the greatest season. Chelsea's in 11th, Crystal Palace as well, 15th. Kind of a down season for both of those clubs. Crystal Palace definitely wants to be in more of that mid-table, getting closer to, the Wolves, Brighton, the West Hams of the world. Being down with Brentford, Nottingham Forest is definitely not what they foreseen this year. Down season for them. Chelsea, I mean, all the money that they spent this year trying to get into... They're trying to be in top 6, top 5, top 3 talks. They should not be in 11th, in which they stand. So not too excited for that game. Still going to enjoy it, though. But both the teams that have a lot to play for, and every game matters for them, got to make it to the end for them. And, for Brentford against the Wolves, so let's start with Brentford against the Wolves. Brentford went 2-0. City against Everton. What a big game there for City. Haaland coming back, scoring 2 goals. He came back a few games ago, but he's came back into that scoring status, scoring 2 goals there. And I think he's leading. He's leading the EPL in goals with 16. He even missed some time. That guy is a tank. I mean, he's going to win the Golden Boot in there, and he missed some time. That guy is inevitable. And for Chelsea as well, not Chelsea, for Man City as well, just 2 points behind, 1 game in hand. I was saying this back in December. These guys are inevitable. Inevitable, man. They will always be here, and they will always do it, and they will always... Pep, that guy's a winner, and he has built a farm, and he has controlled the Prem for the last 10 years. He's going to win his 5th and 6th, or 6th and 7th, something like that. I mean, it's been ridiculous. This guy has been just manhandling the league. And he's going to continue again this year. I don't see them losing out this year, especially with the position they put themselves in. They pick up pace at the right time and able to just defeat opponent against opponent different ways, but able to find ways to win. Gonna be interesting to see how it ends. Oh man, how fun the end of this EPL year is gonna be. The end of this Premier League year is gonna be. It's gonna be real fun. Quickly before we end, I also wanted to just preview a little bit of the Champions League. Gonna be talking a little bit about that tomorrow. Gonna be talking a little bit a bit more about that. Just getting more into the Champions League flow. Got some good games going on tomorrow. Man City versus Copenhagen and Lepes against Real Madrid. Gonna be some two good matches to watch. Gonna be talking about them tomorrow. To be honest, I'll leave it till tomorrow before I preview the games. I'll talk about NBA action that happened today, some college ball that happened today, and we'll get into just some more news around the sports world. It's been Isaiah Aneni, and it has been the GameTime Gazette. I thank you for listening on another day, and till tomorrow, tell your loved ones you love them, and live life. Peace.